it's the same. They have to pay a certain price.
Basically, wake up every morning, see the sunrise, see the sunset in the evening.
And for you, it has been friendships, and being different is usually something that people don't want, because we are in a society, we are society beings, we want to fit in.
Tusime is a young entrepreneur who loves studying and doing new things. His values engage him to look at new opportunities out there in the world and help people. One of the things that he's doing currently right now is collecting different ingredients and turning them into ice cream powder, which is quite unique here on the Ugandan market scene. On top of that, he's also a student at Chambogo University.
Welcome everyone. Once again, we're being joined by our guest, and he's going to tell you more about relationships and support. So for those of you who are in relationships, I mean, all of us are in relationships, whether it be with family, friends, and these are key factors that we have to have. Relationship is something that a human being cannot do without.
Exactly,
Yeah, so who is it that you call when things fall apart in your life?
When it is in business, I call some mentors I have. Yeah, you can call mention. I call Francis. Francis apparently is now pushing a grade in school. Yes. I called my sister. Yeah, I called my sister, the one who gave me the words and encouraged me, the one who gave me a push. She got my back. I called my sister. She's called Irene. I called my dad. Yeah, I asked him how we solving such kind of a problem, because he was also into business. He's still in business. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I call my mentors.
How do your friends or family see your hustle? Do they understand it?
Some understand it and some definitely don't understand it. Yeah.
Is there a particular reason why you think they don't understand it?
Those who don't understand it, it's just because they took different fields. Yeah. So some who are who are medics, it is a little, I can't say it's hard, but there's a possibility of them not to understand what it means, like being in business. Yeah.
So the people that you have in your corner for business, when you call when things are down, all of them are in business in some way, shape or form?
Yes, I'm able to understand the different dynamics in business, and simply because they are in that kind of environment, business environment, yeah, they're able to push, they're able to give a hand, they're able to tell you that if this and this and this has happened, you can do this. You can, try doing this to make sure you come up with a solution. Yeah.
Amazing. It's incredible to have someone that you can look up to, because we're in a world where we are so connected digitally, but in person or socially we are so isolated.
Absolutely, yeah, true. I can talk about, we'll talk about prominent personnels. Talk about Mark Zuckerberg and Severini. That's the person he was with when they were still at college, and they were trying to develop something. Zuckerberg was good at programming, and the friend had money, so they pushed from inception. They pushed it together. How much we need to grow, they were able to take different directions. Yeah, what I can say, probably when it is to come up, with something, it may be hard to do it alone. You may need a person where you're sharing values, where you're sharing ethics, same ethics, and you know them, they know you. You know what they like, and you know what they like, and you know what they don't like. So you're able to relate, work it out together, and come up with something. Push something forward. Yeah.
Amazing. What's a conversation that changed your life's direction completely with one of these mentors? That conversation that triggered something on you?
Um, I'll talk about my dad. I remember, yeah, it was a humble background. I won't lie about that. He was but then he was still in high school, and his dad died. That's my grandfather, and my grandfather, of course, he was supporting my dad, paying fees and all that. But when he died, it meant that dad was meant to find ways on how to get things done, on how to sustain himself. And yeah, he talked about the idea of critical thinking. You get into a situation where you need to find a possible way. Finding a possible way, it means that you will be able to think so much hard to find a way on how to really get a penny. So what he did, he was employed by someone, and basically they were selling oil, paraffin, and diesel, and all that stuff. So he was so subjective to the job. I can call it a casual. It was a casual job, of course. And in this manner, he was more proactive than even his boss. So it means that he showed the value of that business by then, even more than the boss, and he gained all that trust. So in this manner, he was able to understand how business really works, and that opened his mind to start up, I can call it a stall by then. He started up a stall. He, like the way we mentioned in the previous conversation, that he started small. It was a stall. He kept on adding onto that stall until he was able to diversify to a bigger shop, and that's how he came to be one of the agents of Mukwano in the Western region. That was back then.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So that was a story that really showed me that even you can start from scratch. Yeah. And make up to something big. So my dad that's a conversation that really kept me pushing forward.
That's me, because most people, when you tell them you can start from scratch, they feel like, you're just being a motivational speaker. They have branded motivational speakers as people who will say, I just started with 2 grains of rice and now look at me, here I am. There's that joke going around. And true. So when you are saying that, people can easily misunderstand and think, I have nothing. But what I noticed about your story, about your dad, was that even when he did not have something of his own, he was willing to be an apprentice and, work in someone else's business first, learn the skills and grow the capital that he needed. Yes. And then he went out and started on his own. So for those people that are out there feeling like, I have nothing completely, I don't have capital to go and start my business, it's also okay to for a while, go and work for someone, raise the capital that you need, knowing that this is not going to be your final destination, and then go and begin to start your own path. That's really an incredible story, and I have picked a lot from that as well. Thank you, Dad.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Yes. So I want us to go through your journey of becoming the man that you're becoming. What's something that you've learned about yourself through failure?
What I can say about myself, when I fail, or when something fails to come along with what I was expecting, I kind of think that probably that's the end. However much I've started fighting that feeling, that thought. I remember when I had just launched the ice cream powder product, and I was trying to talk to one of the ice cream vendors. They were just telling me, for us, we know what we do. We don't need the ice cream powder. For us, we know our secret recipe, So in my mind, I was like, I think now this is bullshit. Why do I really need to dig into the ice cream powder and all that stuff? But I closed an eye on that thought at that particular time. I said, now let me try talking to a different vendor, ice cream vendor. And I was like, I first bought an ice cream piece, and I was, enjoying the ice cream. I just told them, do you know that there's a better way you can make your ice cream, be better than this, and with a minimized, procedure of making ice cream. This vendor was now trying to, he was inquisitive. He wanted to know which remedy I was trying to put forward. So that's when I introduced the ice cream powder product idea to him, and he was like, oh, I think I should give it a try. When they tried it for once, they liked the product because it gave them a very nice, very good ice cream, and people were loving the ice cream. So I thanked myself for closing an eye and the other negative aspect of, hey, I think this is the end of, you can't, push the product because this first person has, objected your product. So I just thanked myself for objection, for closing an eye on that silent self that kept on saying that you shouldn't pursue that product. So I kept on moving despite of that. So what I can say about myself is that when things fail somehow, I feel probably that is the end, and I feel that's my weakness, but I'm fighting hard to really outgrow that.
I think it's something that very many people struggle with, including me.
Exactly.
And whenever you're trying to do something new, like you've talked about your ice cream powder product, you have it, it's new on the market, and not many people know about it. There's this barrier already in the mindset of people. So whenever you push through a new barrier, there's always going to be rejection. And so that fear of rejection, the fear of being labeled as a failure, the self-doubt that comes with it, that's what tries to slow all of us down. And there are so many people out there, they get one no and they close the chapter.
Yes.
But you have that kind of boldness that irrespective of the one no, you ignore it and keep going because you believe in your product.
Exactly.
And as you keep going, you still find a creative way to convince this ice cream, because I love the fact that you first bought from him. See, sometimes we go to someone who has what we want and we just want to walk in and say, hey, give me this thing. But that's not how it works. If you give something small to that person first, they open up and warm up to you. And that was really an ingenious method that you used, that people out there can use to put their products out. And then you gave that sample, and when they tested it, they loved it. And then you had a hooked client.
Absolutely.
That's really brilliant. But my point here is that fear, that self-doubt is something that all of us struggle with. And what makes a unique entrepreneur, an incredible person, an amazing and resilient person, is the fact that irrespective of all the fear holding you back, you say, I'm still going to move.
Yes.
Irrespective of all the voices that are screaming and saying, this is not going to work, you're going to be a failure, you still choose to take the step. Now, right there, that is the mindset of resilience and strength.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad that you have that mindset. What's a lesson life keeps teaching you one you can't seem to ignore?
It is trying hard to put on, you can call it an armor, that protects you from the different thoughts of people within the environment. Putting on that armor, it means that you're having a sieve. You're sieving, because it's not that you're going to stay with your friends. Remember, we say that choosing friends and saying that, yeah, this is the person I'm coordinating with, this is the person I'm relating with, it means that you are sharing values and some, principles and ethics. But in this time, you can't stay with the people you are related to, or you can't keep with your friends even when you're moving out there. So it means that when you're moving out there, I can say you're vulnerable to whatever you find there that is probably negative. So putting on an armor, of course I don't mean to grab the physical armor and put it on, but having a protective mechanism that helps you to stay strong even when there is negativity that is coming your way. So it is a fact that is undeniable. It is existing within the environment where we are living, where we are doing business from. So you realize that different mindsets are out there. Everyone is speaking according to that mindset they have. Yeah, some are spewing negative, negative words, they're employing negativity around, but the ability for you to notice that this is a negative thing, it makes you stand out and helps you to go forward despite of the negativity that is flooding out there. So it as well helps you to sieve and take in the positivity, the ability to know that, wow, this is a good advice. This is this person is trying to speak positivity in my life. Yeah, if you have that ability to tell, then you're good to go. It then means that you can go through the thickets. You can go through, you can go through different stumbling blocks, and you're able to make it to any goals you are striving to achieve for.
Absolutely. That reminds me of a time when we had to organize an event, and we had this call list of 800 people that we had to call to invite for the event, hoping that they would attend. And I remember the thing that kept me going during that time of calling them was that hour, like you're saying, of telling myself that if this person has said no, I haven't yet finished the list. My goal is to finish the list.
Exactly.
And that's what kept me going, irrespective of how many no's and rejections that we got. And then we finally finished the list, and out of it, at least we had some yeses. And of course, that brought the motivation. And I was glad that I kept going, because at the end of the day, we had an exciting event, wonderful. It was big, and then it grew a lot of attention, and now we're doing another event. And so most times the thing that you are fearing and protecting yourself from is where the opportunity for your growth actually is.
Exactly.
And if you will just take the courage and take that step, irrespective of how uncertain it feels, then you'll actually achieve great things.
Absolutely. That's very true.
Yeah. If you met the 10-year-old version of you, what would you tell him? What would you want to tell him now that you've already seen the future?
Well, I'll tell them, man, make right choices. Make sure that your decisions are up to notch. I'll tell them, make decisions that are informed. I'll tell the 10-year-old me that associate with people, but learn the people you're associating with first before you go into a deep relationship with people. Learn the environment, know the weaknesses, know the strength, avoid the weaknesses, and allude to the strengths. Step by step, your future will be bright.
You've mentioned something. Those are all important points and great advice. And you've mentioned something about associating with people and knowing them before you openly share. I have a friend who was struggling with this, where she was going through a tough time and she would come into contact with people, and because of that really tough time, she just felt like, oh, let me just share with this person and share with that person. And she found herself in situations where people were using the information that she shared, of course, during her tough time, against her.
Oh,
That's an incredible point that you mentioned there, that before you actually get close to people trustingly, people are different, and there are so many kinds of people, and not all of them are wishing for the best for you. Understand them first, take the time to know them before opening up to them.
exactly. That's very, very important. Learning how to disassociate and associating with people. That's very important. Very important. Knowing at what point I should stop associating with someone, because most people, we are vulnerable to that. We don't know how to stop, even when you know that, wow, I'm in some terrible situation with this person. Sometimes withdrawing from that situation, from that relationship, is extremely hard. Some people are being marginalized at their job workplaces, but they don't know how to say, no, I should stop. But when you have that ability of knowing, of communicating that protects you from probably, it protects the maliciousness that comes forward for you to hang in there even when you are not comfortable. Yeah.
Okay, that's an incredible point. At what point do you know? For example, one of my friends is also working in that kind of tough condition at the workplace, and she's struggling to find out, to ask herself really, when should I give up? Where do you draw the line and say, you know what, this is too malicious, I'm done? Or let me just stay and make more money, because at the end of the day, the goal is to make more money and maybe do the projects that need to be done. But where do you draw and say, you know what, it's about time for me to dissociate from this person? Same thing with friendships as well. You know, I've been having some friends that failed to continue to a new level with me, and for me, I had to dissociate from them, because I understand the fact that that's part of life, the need to prune, like we talked about in the previous video. If you haven't watched it, please go and watch it. In part 1, we talked about pruning and cutting off those parts of you that do not allow you to grow. So pruning, it feels painful, but it actually helps you grow faster.
Yes.
So you're cutting off these people that are holding you back, or you're letting go of this job that seems to give you this money or this temporary benefit, but at the end of the day, in the long run, it's holding you back. So at what point do you come and say, yeah, this is where I'm going to do it?
Well, most times when it, I would say if it's a job, it's a workplace, and you realize that the job is giving you, it's costing you peace of mind, your serenity. What I can say is that it's always a comparison of where you are and where you want to be. Then we mentioned about self-reflection. When you do self-reflection, you're able to provide answers for that comparisons, for those two comparisons. The ability for you to compare that, well, where I am, probably it's not the best place I'm supposed to be right now, and you're trying to find the alternative. So you realize that the ability for you to tell that I'm supposed to be the other side, it means that you must have carried on self-reflection. You know exactly what you want. So you're in you're having a job and you're there in a fix. You're at crossroads, whether to start the job, whether to leave the job. But you realize that you don't know whether it's really discomfort, because you may feel it is discomfort, but when it is by your friends, and your friends are telling you, that job, no, whenever we have video calls, your background is funny, what, leave the job. So in your mind, of course, when it takes in, you're failing to have the silver, you're failing to have the armor to know exactly what is negative and what is positive. So when your friends tell you, your job is it's not good, why? Each time we pass by, we find you like you working for what? So your mind will take in that, and it will give you a feedback that you're not fit to be here. So that will give you discomfort. But if you know yourself, you're able to understand, is it really discomfort? When there is a tick, and you realize that it's a discomfort, then you say, what is the alternative? If I'm not here, where am I going to be? Am I just going to be home, doing nothing? If I'm home doing nothing, which kind of discomfort will come along when I'm just home doing nothing? It means that bills are going to pile up, and I'm having nothing to facilitate the bills. So when you look onto where you would be if you're not there, and knowing exactly where you are, if you have the ability to compare the two and find the alternative, that is the option that is if the option is heavier than where you are right now, then you take a move. If you compare and realize that the next option is going back to the village, then you stick around, and now you employ the bounce back ability, the resilience. You train your mind to be there as you critically think for the best alternative. That's what I can.
That's really amazing. And that thing about the mind that you've said has captivated my thoughts, because the mind is something that you can control.
Exactly.
Contrary to what we think, sometimes you wake up in the morning and all of these thoughts are bombarding you. Oh, you're not good enough. Will you ever be? And look at others. And you have the power to turn that off.
Exactly.
And to say, you know what? I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, and I am not going to think about this. I'm going to think about where I want to get to and the steps that I need to get there. You have the power to actually control your mind, but it's a muscle of self-discipline that you have to build, just like you build a muscle in the gym or while you work out doing exercises. As you build that muscle, it doesn't take one day, it takes a while. It's the same when you build that self-control muscle to be able to tell your mind, this thought, no, disregard it. Let's be nonchalant about that. We are not reacting.
Exactly.
So you have the power to choose. And I would really recommend that we as humans stop acting like animals who are responding on instinct. Like this person has done this to me and then I'm so angry and now I can't control it. I'm just going to let it roar. We have the ability to control ourselves.
Exactly.
And our minds as well, the way we think. And all the pain that we go through is in the mind. So let me tell you this. I think last month, I was robbed. They broke into the house and they stole the laptops, and it was really a traumatic time for me.
Oh, sorry.
But then I sat down and I asked myself, where is all the trauma and the pain coming from? It's because every single day, every night, when it's time for sleeping, I'd be like, maybe the thieves are coming back. And then I kept replaying that thing every night for a full month. The thieves came one day. So I could have chosen and said, okay, the thieves have come, they've gone, we've taken the necessary measures, we've reported them to the police, we've changed the security, like we've pimped up the security, that's good enough, and let me trust that everything is going to be okay. No, I went ahead and kept on replaying the moment in my head every single day for 30 days until I said enough is enough. Till when am I going to play this and keep living out the cycle of trauma? So some of the pain that we experience in life happened, and it happened a while back. It happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 3 years ago, 6 months ago. But the pain you're feeling today is because you keep replaying it over and over. So you just have to discipline yourself enough to say, you know what? I think I've cried enough. I've thought about it enough. I think I've taken enough action. And if it has happened, well, it's time to let it go and focus on new and fresh things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's very true. So the ability to know that I'm in a position whereby I know what has happened, and I know the cause of what has happened, and now how do I fix what is coming? Like, how do I solve that problem? How do I mitigate the possibilities of that problem to happen again? Yeah, that's also a strength. That's also an ability a person can really embed in their minds. Yeah. So, sometimes there is a cognitive behavior that is one side of your mind, like being one-sided. In this case, I mean, you are not flexible enough to look at situations in a compound manner or in a comprehensive manner. In this case, you look at a situation and your concentration goes to one side of the situation. So you fail to look at the situation as a whole. So the ability of looking at the situation as a whole, sometimes it is, I would say that it is good to have the ability to look at a situation as a whole. So that's why most people say that problems are there to, sometimes they're there to help us, they're teaching us. So someone who came up without saying had a comprehensive thought. It was not a cognitive, it was not out of cognitive thinking. It was out of, looking at a situation in a comprehensive manner. And yes, there is a problem. And now a problem is teaching you. Problem is negative. Teaching you is positive. So it means that situations that have passed, they may be bad, but then they are teaching us. So for you to be able to understand how they are educating you in this case, it means that you shouldn't be biased to one side, looking at the situation from the negative aspect of it. But when you look at it as a whole, you're able to understand, wow. So in this situation, literally, I'm supposed to learn this. So now I'm going to mitigate the possibility of that situation to happen again. And now you're growing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love the way you've described it, because at Lila Haven, we teach mindset coaching and we help people to reframe problems as learning opportunities. Reframing failures as an opportunity for you to learn and grow. So the way you framed it has, brought back that memory that whenever you go through a tough time, there's always something it's teaching you. There was that phrase in high school, there's every cloud has a silver lining.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And I used to look at the cloud and wonder where is the silver line, but now I understand that it's not the literal meaning, but it's trying to say that no matter how big of a bad situation this is, there's some small good that must have come out of it. And if you focus your attention on that good, it automatically makes you a better person. See, the reason why most people stay stuck and keep reliving the memory, because every time I come to you and I tell you, oh, I was robbed, you say, oh, sorry. And I feel good and I feel seen and I feel validated. And then I meet the next person and I say, oh, I was robbed. Can you imagine? And they say, oh, sorry. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah.
But it doesn't actually make you progress in life.
Absolutely.
You stay stuck in that moment, in that season, while people are making progress, taking strides because they are choosing to heal, choosing to do better every single day. For you, you're stuck in that one moment. And so understanding that in as much as people say sorry, it's not going to make a difference in your life is so important, because throwing a pity party seems fun, but it doesn't take your life very far. And also remembering that no one is coming to save you. Even if you tell 1,000 people, even if I told 1,000 people that, oh, my house was robbed, and they say sorry, no one is going to come and say, you know what, can we take the security measures? No one is going to come and save you. It's you who decides and says, you know what, enough is enough. Let me take action. Let me do something about it. Okay, I'm feeling scared again. What do I do when I'm feeling scared? Let me remind myself of certain things. And so you reframe that negative setback as an opportunity for you to be a better person.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. What does peace look like for you right now?
Peace, to me, I feel it's being where I am and it being exactly where I want it to be, and being able to speak to someone and they are able to understand me. Being in a situation where my mind is fully aware of the situation, because you could be in a terrible situation, but your mind is not able to tell that terrible situation. But if you're in a terrible situation, because terrible situation is part of life.
Yeah.
That's life.
Yeah.
But if you're in a terrible situation and your mind is literally knowing that it's a terrible situation, then it will be at peace to find solutions for your way out. And even when you're seated and relaxed after a terrible situation, you feel more relief when you look at how you were able to go through a situation. You're like, oh wow. So you feel at peace and you're good to go.
Wow, that's an interesting way to define it, because it still puts the responsibility back on you to take action to get yourself out of those terrible situations, so that in the future, as you reflect back, you think about those moments. So for you, you're saying that peace comes from looking at the past and finding the good in the past, but the good in the actions that you took to mitigate all the negative.
Yeah, I can say that, yeah. And as well, being in a place of position where you had really wanted to be, and you feel confined, like not confined, you feel at ease, like this is where I'm supposed to be, and yeah, I'm supposed to be here, and yes, in my mind, I had planned it prior. This is where I'm supposed to be.
Wow. You sound like the kind of person who finds peace from achieving his goals.
Exactly.
That's a very highly motivated person. When was the last time you were truly proud of yourself?
There are many scenarios where I feel like I was proud of myself. That thinking on most times it comes after I have solved a problem. Yeah, and people are appreciating what you've done, and they're not appreciating from most times people lie when they're appreciating in public. There's some people who appreciate you and feel, yeah, this person's problem was solved. So the time I felt I was like proud of myself was, I can recall the time. When I just launched the ice cream powder. There is one lady that was inspired by the ice cream business. This lady approached me and she was terribly wanting to know how ice cream is made. Because literally, it is something you see in a can, you see it on a cone, in your mind you wonder, how does it come to be like this? Then I was like, hey, you don't need to stress. Because she had told me, she was on YouTube trying to search how they make ice cream and all that stuff, but she wasn't able to get a remedial solution on a rightful procedure to employ. But when I told them that, you can make ice cream from just 2 procedures. Get ice cream powder, get milk, mix, and you're done. She had already purchased an ice cream machine. Yeah, it's quite pricey. 4.5, 5, 6, depending on the model. And this lady was appreciative. She was so much appreciative. She liked the powder. And I myself, I was like, wow, I think I should be proud of myself because I created a remedy. I solved someone's problem. So that's the time I felt like, wow, I think, I'm proud of myself.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. What is it that you want people to remember you for?
Well, that's quite a tricky question, but what I would want people to remember me for is learning people and trying to understand their feelings. I can't say I could call it emotional intelligence. Yeah, trying to know people, and it's out of knowing them that you're able to help some. When you know that this person probably could be rigid, and they are rigid, then it means that you're going to change your mechanism of helping them. You're not going to be talking to them like someone who's flexible. So it means you're changing your mechanism of how you're helping them. So that emotional intelligence, yeah.
Okay. So if, God forbid, you passed away tomorrow, what is that thing you hope that people will have learned from your life?
It's good you said God forbid. But I would want people, I feel people would have learned that life isn't just, it isn't just nature, full of nature and all that. It's about creating, innovating out of intuition, creativity, being generated from your critical thinking that you can be what you would want to be, but that happens after you as a person have worked out something for yourself. So if it's a student and you're given project work, some may do what we call imitative entrepreneurship. Yeah, you copy someone's business and you do that as a project. But in this case, if you sit down and say, I'll do this and I want to create a business model that is so different from anybody else, then it means that it is coming out of you, and you definitely develop that. And even when you're done with school or campus, you will be doing that, and it will be centered from yourself. So remembering me is that people should know that who they are at this time, it is because of their mind, of their thought, and it's their hard work. If you feel you have less, then it means that probably you've not done enough.
Yeah.
And if you feel you've done something good, then it means that probably your hard work is paying.
Wow, amazing. If this podcast was heard by every young person out there who's just like you, what would you tell them?
Young people, I can't say I'm also young now. So what I've told my fellow young people is that we should live a life where your mind is flexible enough to know what to take in and not what to take in. Yes, there are a lot of situations that are brainwashing. Yeah, being in the situation of being brainwashed, it means that your mind is unable to even see what would be negative. It would be hard for it to look at it as it's a negative thing, but you be convinced that it is positive, however much it is negative. So being so much sober and fighting hard to have a flexible mind, that you're able to tell that this is negative and this is positive, and you're able to choose positive from negative. The ability to tell that this is good and this is bad. Then you choose what is good. Because at the end of the day, when you choose something that is good, it will determine your decisions. It will determine where you are at some moments in life. When you choose bad, it also comes with its own repercussions. It means your decisions will be made by your decision, by how you look at things. If something is bad, it means that your decisions also may turn out to be bad. We can call them bad. Then learning how to strategize yourself, positioning yourself, knowing the friends you're associating with, knowing people you're growing up with. Because at a tender age, at a younger stage, that's when the brain is still also too sharp to grab memories. So when you fill your brains with bad memories, somehow they will haunt you up. They'll determine your next years, your future. They will determine your future. So knowing exactly who you are associating with, the decisions you make, making sure that they are made from an informed aspect of aspect part of it. Fighting hard to always have a flexible mind, to look onto the ability to choose good and refrain from bad.
Wow. Thank you so much, John.
Okay.
I'm sure they're going to heed this advice and it's going to make their lives different. If you're out there and you're watching this podcast, I hope that you will subscribe. We usually get a lot of viewers, but not many of them subscribe. I pray that this will be informative and you will stick around to watch more of these videos that will continue to release that can help you shift your mindset to the next level, to grow from strength to strength, as is our goal, that you will be resilient even in the face of hard times.